can I kick off? You've obviously seen, first and foremost, we have been trying to sort of speak before even the letter, but you've obviously seen the letter, and it'd just be good to address, I guess, your care and passion for the club.
Yeah, I mean, for me, on a personal level, I mean, I'm not sure how to address my passion because I think anyone that knows me knows how passionate I am about Arsenal Football Club. I'm over there as much as I can be, and so is my father. And when we're not there, we instill the work to be done with good people. And there's been a lot of heavy lifting over the last 12 to 14 months or so. We have an entirely new structure put in place that we're really excited about. And the final piece of the puzzle, as Raul said it elegantly in the release a few weeks ago, is our technical director, which is Edu. I'm really excited about his appointment. I think that he brings not only Arsenal DNA to the table, but he also brings a mentality that was instilled with him during the Invincible year. And I think that championship, that type of invincible mentality is going to serve us well both now and in the future.
Does it hurt you when fans are sort of questioning your passion for the club, your loyalty to it?
Absolutely.
It's quite harsh to take that.
Absolutely, but I'm not in this business to make friends. I'm in this business to try to win. If anything, if anyone's ever going to question anything about our ownership, which I view as a custodianship, even though one would say that we're owners of the club, the supporters trust us to be custodians of the values, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to win while also respect the values and traditions of the club.
People sort of
tell them about how you felt when you were in Baku.
I was there in Baku on behalf of KSE, on behalf of my father, on behalf of our family, and I was down there on the sideline. I was down there on the medal podium handing out second place medals. I saw the look in our coach, on our coach's face, on our players' face, on all of our staff, and I felt and I saw what they felt. I felt the same way. And I think the most important thing about being down there on the pitch was understanding that there was also a resolve down there. There were some people that were pretty pissed off that we had dropped that last match, and I think that resolve should serve us well as we move forward.
You say you're in it to win, but some of the fans are saying Arsenal aren't really worried about winning, they're just worried about making money, which is clearly...
Well, there was a quote that was probably taken quite out of context about not buying a team to win trophies, and I think unfortunately people have put a lot of...
I would love to hear the quote, honestly, because I'm not sure what exactly was said. We have never said anything other than we're in this to win. And if anything else was said, someone else made it up or someone else misconstrued our statement.
Right. I think the quote was in the context of, it's very, very difficult to win in this league, and we didn't buy the team to... If you buy a team to win trophies, then you're going to be very disappointed most of the time. And unfortunately, I think that was twisted into we don't care about trophies. And I'm not asking you to respond to a quote that wasn't made that way.
All I can say is what I feel and what I know my father feels, and that we're in this to win it. If you're in sports to make money, if you're in sports to make people happy, I mean it's a tough business. And we understand that not everyone is going to agree with everything that goes on, but our job is to run the club as we see fit and hire good people to do their job well. And I think that we've filled out our new organizational structure very well, and I think our fans are going to be pleased moving forward.
Can I just ask you about, just to address the issue about spending this summer? I mean, why is that such a restrictive issue? Could you just break it down? If we're going to go into any of the finer points, I'd have to defer to one of these guys that are on my right or my left. I've always told them we need to be as aggressive as possible. I mean, I think it's no secret that we have a Champions League wage bill on a Europa League budget right now. Sure. I think that's a fact. Yeah.
And one that we're figuring out how to face internally at the moment. That doesn't mean that my father or I have ever said anything about any restrictions on spending. We know where we need to be. We know the areas we need to address on the pitch. We talk about those extensively, usually before the supporters become concerned about those roles. So we try to stay ahead of the curve, and these guys are working as hard as they can behind the scenes to bring some more talent into our pool.
Do you think to an extent the fans sometimes that just they want you to just spend money, and do you think that do you worry that that's just their view really?
No, I understand, and to be frank, that's not their job. Their job is only concerned with what goes on
on the pitch whenever we're ready to play a match. I'm not concerned with the buying and the selling. It's not who you buy, it's how you buy. Or there's multiple statements to say how to skin that cat. And while we're not going to be in the market for some of the top players in the world at the moment, as they're the top players, we're actively scouting the globe, trying to find the next big thing to become great at Arsenal Football Club. And not only will we bring them to the club, we'll be a club that will be able to retain them and keep them in the fold going forward.
Does that require a bit of patience from fans?
I would say yes, but that's also not their job. Their job is to come and cheer us on when we're out there on the pitch. Our job is to try to figure out how to stay patient. And to me, that's a lot of times the hardest part about what I do in my role is staying patient, because I am a fan. I want to win the next match immediately, but I also know that with where we are right now as a club, putting in this and laying the solid foundation will only allow us to be successful moving forward. And I think that we've not only laid that foundation, we're starting to build up from that now.
Is there a model or an example of a club that has done it intelligently that maybe, I'm saying Arsenal can copy, but certainly emulate to get the club back in the top four during this maybe restrictive time?
That's a great question, and I don't want to point to any other clubs. I will just point internally to KSE. I think that we've done a really good job especially over the last 5 or 6 years, understanding where our issues lie, putting good people in place, giving them the time, patience, and resources to do their job. And I think that if you point to the Los Angeles Rams, if you point to the Denver Nuggets, if you point to the Colorado Avalanche, Arsenal supporters should see a model there that says they have elite young talent led by wonderful coaching and an environment that every resource is available to them, and that's what we aim to provide for Arsenal.
Do you think the fans worry that because you have so many franchises of 5 or 6 clubs, you're almost spreading yourself a bit thin in terms of commitment to one club?
I can see how they might think that, and for myself, I think that's only an advantage. I think we're starting to understand, and for myself personally, we're understanding how to take best practices and apply them across multiple places. When I speak to Raul, when I speak to Vinay, I'm asking some of the same questions. It's all very different, but it's all fruit to fruit. I would say that it's, the English Premier League compared to anything in the United States is more, apples to watermelons, because it's so different and so big. But there are similarities in the way that the business is run, the way that the business is structured, and the successful personalities that bring success to the clubs on the pitch.
How confident are you that you can finish the transfer window in a stronger place and in a place that you need to be to get in the Champions League next season?
Very.
So I see firsthand the young coach, young Ab, same with the Nuggets. And we see you in the press here, Denver Post. What's your reluctance to talking to Arsenal.com, putting a video on the website, to say to these fans, I hear you, I want to address these issues like you're addressing with us, because I think it goes a long way as a supporter. And we hear silence stand so much. What's your reluctance from the Kroenkes just sitting down and saying, here's our roadmap? It's a 5-year plan, there could be bumps. We see the 18-month plan you've put in place with these two, Edu, having Freddie move over. I mean, we get what you're doing, but I think hearing it from you specifically, like we hear from you with the Nuggets and the Avs, is there reluctance from you with the media the way it is over in England?
No,
Wait, I'm going to interrupt
No
for 1
disrespect.
second. No, time out. Let me interrupt for 1 second and not interrupt. John, do you think that's a fair assessment?
No, I don't.
Well, hang on, but let me.
He's
answer.
English, by the
But,
way.
it's
by the
okay.
way, I'm not...
No, it's okay. To Tomego's point, do you think it's fair? It doesn't matter. Perception is sometimes reality. And I would say that I have been more aggressive over the last year or so than anyone has been over there in quite some time. I've sat down with fan supporters groups.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to sit down and have tough conversations with anybody, because I'm transparent.
Mm-hmm.
We're transparent. We have nothing to hide. We all want the same thing.
Yeah.
And we're just aggressively trying to make it happen. It's just sometimes our timeline might not be as aggressive as others might like to seem, but we're not going to compromise the values that have kept the Arsenal Football Club the way it is over 130 years.
Do you think the supporters' expectations are a bit unrealistic?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. We love their passion. Without that passion, we don't have a business. So whether they're realistic or unrealistic, we want that passion, because that's the only way that our business and that our sport thrives is the supporter passion.
Can you talk us through, the first time you read that letter, maybe from a personal perspective, how that felt? Because I'm presuming it came out, you must have woken up to it like all of us did.
Yeah, I don't want to go into any detail, but I think I answered that in a different way a few minutes ago. I mean, obviously that it hits you personally, especially when you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning after a late night with another team the night before watching a game, or you're flying all night to make sure you're there, to know that Raul, Vinay, and Unai have your undoubted support, because there's a lot of thought and a lot of hours that go into that. But it is what it is. The fans have every right to their opinion, and whether it's good or whether that opinion is bad, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go about our process, and we're going to keep working hard for the club.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, conscious of the fact you're just about to kick off again.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you, Josh. It was great to hear from you. I know the supporters.
Josh, really appreciate it.
I think the supporters would be a lot happy knowing that you are.
It is
hearing this from you, which is why
sometimes we got to have our rhinoceros hide on, and it happens. It's happened in our other.
If you were that reactionary, you wouldn't be in the position you're in now.
No, exactly. We
it's a pleasure.
We put our heads together, and we make decisions together. I am excited about our growth. I think we got some great people in place, and
I think we're around.
The frustrating part is that it does take time. I wish we could just turn the page quick, but our foundation is laid. We got really good people in place, and at key positions, we also have guys with Arsenal DNA. Which
I just want to see this morning.
Really excited.
It's headed in the right direction. Appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you very much.